You know, I'm something of a podcast myself. I'm something of a podcast myself. You know, I'm something of a podcast. I'm something of a podcast. I'm something of a podcast myself.
All right, welcome back. Welcome. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome back to episode number 20 of Something of a Podcast. The only podcast brave enough to say, you know, I'm something of a podcast myself. I, as always, am one of your co-hosts, Mike Gamms. And with me, as always, is the very talented KaiVonDoom. Say hello, Kai.
Hello, Kai.
That's 20 times in a row. That never gets old to me. I am happy to be back here in December. We're celebrating the Ho 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 holidays. However you choose to celebrate. It is deep in the month of December now. How's your holidays been so far? All right.
I'm not really in the holiday spirit. It's just a bunch of, I don't know. I live alone. There's no reason for me to like decorate and all that shit. So I keep forgetting that Christmas is coming up.
Me too, to be honest. For the same reasons, because I'm like, I also am, by myself. We're gonna talk about our top 3 Christmas movies in the second half of the episode. But I've kind of been watching a lot of stand-up comedy specials again. Actually, I don't know if you've heard anything about it, but Anthony Jeselnik just put out a new special a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard about it. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but it's on my list.
I don't know where this is going to pick back up because we're having some technical issues over here, but welcome back from not a break, just a disruption. I'm not sure what we picked up, but I was telling you, Kai, about Anthony Jeselnik's new special, Bones and All. And the one thing that I wanted to mention about it that'll just paint the context for not only the special, but the discourse around it, and why I think that a lot of comics need to watch this special, is he does this joke, which I'm gonna give it away, but he goes, "I hate cancel culture." And the crowd kind of responds, some of them cheer, and then he waits a beat and he goes, "That's my impression of a shitty comic trying to get on Joe Rogan." So
That's
like
good.
that's right. And so he not like the whole special or everything, but he's come out as being like, he's still the same viciously dark edgelord that he's always been, but he's making it very abundantly clear that he is not the same as these hack lazy podcasters, anti-cancel culture like folk. And it's really sent like shockwaves through these like Rogan sphere simp guys who are just obsessed with that whole world of comedians. And so that's why I think it's like super like worth mentioning Jeselnik's new special and his subsequent podcast appearances surrounding it, and just all the shit he's been talking about Tony Hinchcliffe, Joe Rogan, and that whole world. Not just for like nothing personal, but just about what they represent for our art form and our industry and what they are doing to comedy and comedy audiences. And it's he's just been on a terror lately, and so I got to give ups to Anthony Jeselnik of all people.
I love that. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm definitely
Right?
gonna have
That's
to check out
why
the special now.
yeah, that's why I'm like, I bring it up because he's really got some people, some of the right people hot and bothered, and yeah, it's interesting. He's still very much his style of like edgelord stuff, but I've learned more and more that there's a big difference between Anthony Jeselnik, the stand-up comedy character, and Anthony Jeselnik, the guy. He's still the guy who decides to be that character, which says something about you. But I like the guy more than the character, because I've seen I've seen a lot of his opinions and intentions lately that have really pleasantly surprised me. So yeah, that's like really what I wanted to say about Jeselnik. But just real quick, while we were on the subject of comedy specials, I did want to shout out a couple other specials that I think are really worth checking out, and they're all on. The 4 specials I'm going to mention are all for free on YouTube right now, and so the first one I would say is James Adomian's new special, Path of Most Resistance, is really brilliant, hilarious. James Adomian is one of the most talented guys ever, talented comedians ever. He's the voice of Bane and Harley Quinn. I was actually fortunate enough that I featured for him while he was working on this special right before he recorded it and put it out, and it's really a great special. So I'm going to recommend that. It just came out. I would also recommend Live from the Big Dog by Blair Sachi. If you're familiar with Blair, she's so funny. Her new special is out on YouTube, and I really enjoyed that one. I also have to plug Alive in Alaska from Brooks Wheelan, which just came out recently as well on YouTube. And Brooks did a whole tour of Alaska and then recorded a special out there, and it's really awesome special. Brooks is really funny. And the 4th and final comedy special I wanted to plug for my, which turned into my comedy special end of year review, I guess, is Ice Cream Money by Ashley Ray, which is just really fucking hilarious. If you're familiar with Ashley Ray, she's a really great comic and podcaster, TV critic, and she's really, really funny, and her special Ice Cream Money is really fucking hilarious. And so that's my plug on that. Do you have any thoughts about comedy special or comedy specials or comedy in general? I know you got some comedy shows yourself coming up, right?
Yeah, I got a couple shows coming up. I have one this Sunday, so by the time this is out, I don't know if it'll be too late, but I have one this Sunday at
The
Iron
22nd.
Smoke Distillery. Yes.
Sunday the
So I got
22nd at
that
Iron Smoke
going.
Distillery. And that's in Rochester or Buffalo?
Yes, that's in Rochester.
In
And
Rochester.
so then I have on the 28th, I have a show at Comedy at the Carlson.
Nice.
A bunch of local comics. Chris Allen headlining. He's super funny, really great guy. So that's gonna be an awesome show.
Yeah, I seen the post for that one. That looks really cool. Yeah, Chris Allen's very funny. That's awesome. So that's um Sunday the 22nd at Works
Iron Smoke.
Iron Smoke.
Iron Smoke.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And was that Saturday the 28th
Yes.
at Comedy at the Carlson.
Yep.
Nice. And those are both in Rochester. Um, so if you're in
Yeah, those are both in
Rochester or
Rochester.
Buffalo, within a 10-hour drive, I would recommend coming to see KaiVonDoom. And honestly, even beyond that, but if you're in the Western New York region, you should certainly come check out KaiVonDoom. If you're on the other coast in sunny California, I have a couple dates out west. This Sunday also on December 22nd, I have my show Comedy Runway at the Clubhouse in Los Angeles, which is in like Los Feliz, Silver Lake area. We do my comedy fashion show, so that'll be super fun.
That
And
one
then
sounds so fun.
I know I've not gotten to have it's like not worked out several different times for you to have done it over the years, which is like a great travesty. But one of these days we'll have you on a comedy runway. We'll be at the same place at the same time. And yeah, it's super fun. We have the fashion
Yeah, I gotta come
judges.
to California and do it.
Yeah, that's the best way, for sure. And yeah, so that's super fun. And then one other little plug I gotta mention is that on Tuesday, January 7th, I will be returning to the quote unquote world famous Comedy Store in Los Angeles to do the roast battle in the belly room against my dear friend Jake Flores. So that'll be super fun and anxiety attack inducing for several reasons. But that's kind of I guess supposedly somewhat of a big deal because it's at the club, and you know how I feel about comedy clubs in general. But I will be at the comedy club, the Comedy Store, on Tuesday, January 7th. So if you're in Los Angeles and that's your thing, come check that out. Yeah.
This is very
Uh,
exciting.
yeah. So yeah. You have any other thoughts on comedy, Kai, or what else would you like to talk about? I'm gonna stop babbling over here, and I'm giving you the floor to talk about whatever you want. You could explain to me whatever you want, tell me whatever. I will do my best to shut up and listen, which is something I'm not good at, but I'm gonna try. So, Kai, take it away.
All right, so pretty soon Kendrick Lamar is going to be doing the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm very excited about that. So he pulled a Beyonce recently and dropped a surprise album, which is clearly just
Oh.
written for him to perform at the Super Bowl. Yeah, if you
Nice.
listen to it, there's a lot of references to football, like a lot of band music. So it's clearly he just put this album out
Oh.
because he's like, fuck, I can't do my like jazz shit at the Super Bowl. So I need something for that. But I'm obsessed with the album. It's very listenable. It has a lot of like underground LA rappers. So a lot of them are getting their first like Billboard hits because of this album. So I think that's pretty cool.
Mm. I haven't listened to it. I'm honestly not super up to date on all things Kendrick and hip hop, but I am excited to see the Super Bowl, and I think the
Oh
big
yeah.
question is he gonna call Drake a pedophile on live television, or is the whole crowd gonna say it when he doesn't say those certified pedophile? Will the crowd say it, or will Kendrick say it?
And is Drake gonna call in 5,000 FCC complaints when it happens?
Oh man, which do you think? Do you think Kendrick says it, or do you think the crowd says it?
I think Kendrick's gonna say it. I
Yeah.
100% think he's gonna say it. My question as a petty bitch is I want to know if his ass is gonna bring out Taylor Swift because I know he has a song with her, unfortunately. So I just want to know if this room is this moment in Black history going to be ruined by Taylor Swift long back being on the Super Bowl stage.
Interesting. That's a possibility I never thought about. I I think it depends on if her husband boyfriend's team makes it or not, which hopefully not.
I hope not. I will stop watching football if these bitches are in the Super Bowl this year.
Both of them, yeah,
I'm not gonna
yeah.
stop watching, but
No, me neither. But yeah, it is. Yeah, I guess we'll see. She only goes to games in Kansas City now because it's the only place where they have a like guaranteed like security or whatever. Like she's got a system there all in place where she's not going to be heckled by fans and stuff like that. And one of the
I think it's because she got so much shit for hopping on her PJ and just flying around the country every week.
that's part of it. Yeah. Absolutely. Also, she did say that Buffalo was the worst place she ever went. They were so mean to her in Buffalo. I mean, it's a little weird how far people take it, a little bit, but I'm like, she's annoying. But like, there's also the people who are most annoyed with her I think are more annoying than her, but
Yeah, it almost makes me feel sorry for her. There's been moments where I'm like, leave Taylor Swift alone, and I never thought I would
yeah,
ever say that.
right,
I am, I thought I was her biggest hater, but I guess I'm not.
The worst is when like I'm watching NFL football sometimes and there'll be like a player named Taylor and they'll say Taylor with the play and the announcer will be like, oh, I guess I got to be more specific saying Taylor when Kansas City's playing or even if Kansas City's not playing like it's wild and yeah. But see, I don't know how we got to Taylor, but we started at Kendrick, which we should go back to Kendrick.
Yeah, we
I
should.
gotta check out this new album.
No, you should.
What's it called?
Yeah, it's very good. He has this. It's called GNX. So he has like a lot of underground LA rappers on the album. He has this mariachi singer who's also like popular in LA, but not really. So he kind of like gave her her big break with this album as well. So he's
Oh,
really putting on for California,
nice.
putting on for the culture.
Is
There's a
look.
song that samples Luther Vandross on there that I'm obsessed with.
Oh, nice. What's nice? What's that track called? And or what song?
It's called Luther. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's easy to find. Um.
Mhm.
Are you sure it's about Luther Vandross and not about Luther from the Umbrella Academy, also known as Number One?
Oh God.
No, no, definitely not. Okay. Is Lil Wayne on this album, and do you think Lil Wayne's gonna be at the New Orleans Super Bowl or
Lil Wayne is gonna be in the audience hating, but
pouting?
I can't wait to
Pouting.
see
I
it.
want to see the shot of him pouting during. They're gonna do it if he's in the building, which he will
And
be.
I
They're
can't
gonna
wait to see
cut to
him.
him. I could do better. Like every comic standing in the back, like when another comic's on stage, has that same look. You know that look when
Yep.
someone who
Oh
you're
yeah.
better than is jealous that you're performing and they're not.
Oh
I've
yeah, I
seen
love it.
I've seen that look once or twice in my life. Not as much as you though, because
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of haters for no reason. And when certain things come to fruition early next year, that's gonna be funny to see.
in 2025, Kaitober starts in January. Heard it here first.
I hate to be like the guy that's like, oh, big things on the horizon and not saying what it is, but I have to start like cackling early.
Mm. Yeah. Also, as a B storyline, 2025, year of the Gamms. We'll give you
Yes.
we'll give you a year long Kaitober, but 2025, yeah, it's gonna be good. I say this every year. Well, actually, I don't. I don't usually say that every year, but I think 2025 is gonna be better than 2024 in some tangible ways for the co-host of something of a podcast. That's you and I. I
Yeah, I've
have.
been down for too long, so
Yeah,
mathematically something has to give soon.
I've been down so very damn long. It looks like up to me, as they say. But I think we're probably getting close to our time break here, despite our technical difficulties. Do you have a more to add about Kendrick or anything else at the moment before we take a break and then we get back in the ho 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 spirit for our top three Christmas films?
No, I think I said all I have to say, but I think I should start taking bets on how many times Drake is going to call the FCC and if Taylor Swift is going to be brought out.
Oh my goodness. Hell yeah. I cannot wait. And the best part of this whole Kendrick Super Bowl halftime show is that it's going to be happening while Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are winning the Super Bowl. This is something
Yes,
of a sports podcast
yes.
now. The year of the buffalo is upon us. All right. Well, let's take a break, and we'll be back in a few moments, seconds. We're a jingle away. We'll be back, and we'll be ho ho hoing, jingle belling, and all that. All right. Be right back.
You know, I'm something of a podcast myself. I'm something of a podcast.
All right. Welcome back to something of a podcast. Welcome back from your break. Did you have a nice break, Kai?
Yeah, I did. I didn't really do anything. Like I started to make dinner, but I didn't eat it yet.
Nice. I need to make lunch soon. Uh, or breakfast, probably. My break I spent trying to figure out audio-visual issues. Hopefully, if you're watching or listening to this, you didn't notice anything weird going on, but it's been an ongoing battle for 20 episodes of me versus technology. Um, but um, we are back. We had a break. It was probably like a 10-second little jingle for most of y'all. I did smoke a cigarette, which is tradition and also mandatory. But this time we are back, and I'm excited because we as always we talked about this on the last episode. I believe this was your suggestion. But we're doing our top 3 favorite Christmas movies or holiday movies or whatever. I don't want to limit it to one holiday or nothing for you. I don't know what you got in store. Um, I'm just gonna say I'm pretty excited about this topic, um, because I do have like an active list of like my top 9 favorite Christmas movies, just like a standing list, and I generally like watch them all every year, even by myself. We're usually by myself. Um, so narrowing it down to my 3 was pretty hard, not gonna lie, but it was a good exercise in restraint. Um, how are you feeling? Did you want to start, or do you want me to start, or what? Did you have opening thoughts on
I could
Christmas
start.
movies?
Yeah. So I am not a big Christmas movie person. So I thought I wasn't going to be able to come up with 3, but I did end up coming up with some, and I used all of my restraint not to put Die Hard on the list. So Die Hard is not on my list, but that is one I watch every single year. So, all right. The first one I'm gonna do, I gotta start with a horror movie. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
What year is that?
So 1984.
84. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's like a typical 80s slasher. There's lots of gratuitous shots of boobs for no reason. There's a yeah, lots of blood, lots of meaningless murder. So it's the plot the plot is not important. It's a slasher movie, but there's a guy who was an orphan raised by nuns. Therefore, he has a lot of anger and rage. He works in a toy store dressed as a Santa Claus, and he snaps and murders a bunch of people while dressed as Santa Claus.
Wow. So I'm like familiar with the title and I know of its like sort of existence, but I don't know much about this. Who's in this movie? Anybody I would know?
No, I could look up the cast really quick, but it It's like a B movie. None of these
It's just
people
a
have
slasher.
done
Okay, did they
anything
remake
since.
this movie?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's been remade in
yeah.
like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I have a vague memory of that, but I'm gonna have to. Well, I would say I'm gonna have to check it out, but y'all at home should check it out because I know for sure I'm not going to because I don't really like slashers, as we know, as we've discussed here. Horror gives me the we're opposites in that way. It gives me the ick. It might be a little much for me, but that sounds like the most KaiVonDoom answer I've heard, so that's good. Any other thoughts on that, or should I go? Okay, my first pick. All right. Um. So this, like I said, this was really hard for me to narrow it down. And so for my first pick, I'll tell you right out the bat that on my active list of 8 to 10 movies of my top 10 Christmas movies, 3 of them are Muppet movies, and no surprise there, I'm sure. So I'm only going to mention one of them here. Yeah, but it's maybe not what you think. So while I do enjoy A Muppet Christmas Carol, that is not in my top three. My choice is A Muppet Family Christmas. Are you familiar with the 1987 classic?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
one that's
I actually
across.
have seen it.
Okay, cool.
It's a crossover of, for those that don't know, of Sesame Street, The Muppets, Fraggle Rock, and Muppet Babies all in one made for TV Christmas special that came out in the year of my birth, 1987. Many of the copies of it on YouTube still have Oshkosh Bagosh commercials in it. It's a fucking classic. It's great. Um, and just because, so that's my first choice, and I will add an honorable mention to that because I said I have 3 Muppet movies in my top 8, and the other one would be Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. But I just couldn't put it in my top 3 over Muppet Family Christmas. But Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is one of the all-time greatest Muppet movies. Very sweet, very 70s, very rock and roll, very jug band, very poor people movie. I love it. But so my first pick, Muppet Family Christmas. That's the end of my rant there. Thoughts on Muppets slash what is your next pick? Are you familiar with any of the you said you've seen one of the at least one of the 3 Muppet movies that I mentioned.
Yeah, it's been a while though, so I don't really remember it. Like I said, I'm not a huge Christmas person, so I don't really watch a lot of Christmas movies.
Nice. Well, then, what's your second pick?
All right, my second pick is a more traditional Christmas movie, probably the most traditional Christmas movie on my list, but still a very Kai Von Doom pick. So my second movie is Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. I used to watch this movie all the time when I was a kid. I was obsessed with it.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I do love me some classic Arnold's, and I forgot Sinbad's in that movie too. Duh, that's great.
Yeah,
I don't know
Sinbad,
if you've.
Phil Hartman, Rita
Oh
Wilson,
wow.
Jim Belushi. The cast is stacked. Like this movie is, I think Vern Troyer is in it, Chris
No,
No
Parnell. Like the
way.
cast is just insane.
that's not.
That's not in my regular rotation of like the 10 that I've aforementioned 10, but I mean I need to revisit that one. That sounds like a lot of fun. I haven't seen that in forever. I don't know if you've seen this, but Arnold has a new Christmas movie coming out. I don't know. I just seen some images of him as kind of a scary looking Santa. I think it's mostly next year, but they're filming it.
Oh wow. No, I
Um,
love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm a huge Schwarzenegger fan of his movies.
yeah. His politics on the other hand, and the treatment of women,
Not
maybe.
the politics or the secret families, but every his
Right.
movies I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. I'm a big classic Arnold fan. That's a great pick. Jingle all the way. Yeah, that's a solid choice. You're right. That's like a traditional Christmas classic for sure.
Yeah, it has like the action, it has good comedy, and it still has like the warm and fuzzy, like, oh, I love my family type of message. So I think it's like that's the only way to get me to watch a Christmas movie.
Nice. Um, any more thoughts on there, or should I go into my second choice?
Yeah, let's hear your second choice.
Okay, so my second choice for my top three Christmas movies of all time is and it is also a traditional like classic Christmas movie, but I think it's somewhat of a controversial choice because putting this in my top three, and I'll just come out with it right now, is one of my number two pick for my top three favorite Christmas movies of all time is Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And that's why I say it's a little bit controversial, is because I pick Home Alone 2 over Home Alone 1. It is a matter of personal preference, I think. But Home Alone 1 still in my top 8. It's still in the top 10, top 8. It gets a little hairy towards the bottom of that, but Home Alone number 2 is just my favorite, despite the fact that Donald Trump is in it. But it just like, I feel like it's one of the greatest sequels of all time. It's somehow just as good and maybe even better than the original, because it expands the scope and adds New York City as this character, which for a Christmas movie is just like, it's this extra like element of magic, like New York City and Christmas. Like when you're a kid, it was just like, yeah, so to me it's my favorite of the Home Alones for sure, and is one of my top three favorite Christmas movies of all time. How do you feel about Home Alone 2 versus Home Alone 1, or that pick in general?
So I actually just saw Home Alone 2 for the first time last week. And so this movie is fresh in my mind. I almost put it on my list too.
Oh,
So Home Alone 2 is one of those movies that I've seen. Yeah, I've seen clips from it so many times that I thought I saw the movie. But when I watched it, it's like going into it, you're like, okay, how is he home alone again? Like, how could they set this up in a way that's believable?
pre nine
But
11 airport
it
security.
actually, obviously, yeah, yeah, and it's like Kevin, I'm a huge Kevin McAllister apologist. Free him. Like this boy, his family was so disrespectful to him. I felt so bad. I'm watching
Mm-hmm.
this movie just like about to cry on
Again.
my period. Like, how does his family keep forgetting him? Why are they so mean to him? But
That's why the second one hit so
no,
hard,
I
because the
enjoy
first time that's an accident. Second time, oh, that burns. Sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
Like, where is CPS? If that was a black family, CPS would have been called the first time. But I really liked the movie. I like the
Um,
crazy pigeon lady. Like that was a good addition.
yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
choice.
um, yeah, yeah. Any further thoughts on that, or what's your third choice now? Yeah, huh? Or honorable mention, or whatever else you want to do here too. Um,
My only honorable mention would be Die Hard or Terrifier 3, but I already talked about Terrifier 3 last time. But yeah, any Christmas movie that starts with dismemberment and I am the biggest Grinch. I guess the Grinch also should be one of my honorable mentions.
Jim Carrey or original
Because that's
cartoon?
me in real life. I don't think I've ever seen the original. I think I've only
Oh,
seen
it's
the Jim
good.
Carrey one. I'm not sure though.
But I would
I
go full
probably saw it
Grinch
when
if
I was little and just don't remember it.
those Who's are freaking annoying. I get it, man.
They suck.
Yeah.
And I understand him. I'm a Grinch apologist. But my final pick, I tried to do three different movies from different genres. So the last
Oh.
pick I have is a fantasy movie, and this is one that I have not yet heard in the Christmas movie conversation. It's pretty new-ish. It kind of flew under the radar. It was an A24 movie that kept getting pushed back and pushed back. I don't think it even came out around Christmas time, but the movie is The Green Knight. It is an adaptation of Sir Gawain in the Green Knight, the old like fantasy tale. So
Oh.
the
That's
movie I
looking
would say is a
familiar.
Christmas movie because it's framed around Christmas Day. So the story starts and ends on Christmas Day. So it takes place over a full year. So if you're familiar with the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, Gawain was one of the knights of the Round Table, and he was challenged to a duel on Christmas Day by the Green Knight, this like big menacing character. And so he's told, on next Christmas we'll duel. You have a full year to prepare. I The knight basically tells him, I'm going to cut your head off on Christmas Day. And so
I see.
we see the Sir
I have
Gawain,
heard of this
yeah,
movie,
Sir
by the
Gawain
way.
is
It's
played by Dev.
That's what I was just gonna get at. I just saw it
So
was
Sir
the
Gawain is
Dev Patel
played by
movie.
Dev
Yeah.
Patel. Yeah. Dev Patel is one of my favorite actors. I think he's so great. Like he went
Hot
from
as
being in
hell.
some like, yeah, he is so fine. I'm just, like seeing seeing his evolution though from Skins, which is basically like the UK version of Degrassi, seeing his that to being, this serious actor who's just been absolutely blowing me away with all of his performances. Uh, he's like his performance in The Green Knight is definitely Oscar worthy, I think.
I see. I
So
really like him.
yeah. So just the fear in the movie, the whole movie, it's not like a typical fantasy. He's not going around fighting mystical creatures. Like the fight with the Green Knight is just at the end of the movie and 1,000-year-old tale. But he's the whole movie is basically about him being fearful of this battle that he has to have on Christmas Day and thinking, I'm going to be killed. What do I do? So just seeing him go through the motions of like, do I prepare to fight this man who I know I have no chance of winning against? Do I go try to find some magical solution to beat him, or do I accept my fate? And I feel like, I don't know, it's pretty heavy subject matter for Christmas, but
I might
I think it's
actually
such a
watch
beautiful
that. I
movie.
might watch
I
this
think I
like
think it's
soon. That sounds really interesting. I'm way into that. I think I would like this.
yeah. Yeah, I think you'd like it's a great movie, and it's not
Is it
one that I
really
ever
long?
see in the Christmas movie discussion. I don't remember it being too long. I went and saw it at
Okay.
the little theater. There wasn't a lot of people there. But it was this A24 movie that a lot of people were excited about when it was first announced because Dev Patel was fresh off of, I think, The Life of Pi and was like really hot in Hollywood at the time. But the movie kept
Mm,
getting pushed back and pushed back to the point where people
I
were like, oh, it's
see.
probably not coming out. And by the time it actually did come out, all the hype died down. But it's a gorgeous movie.
I
The
remember
cast
hearing
was phenomenal. Yeah.
I remember hearing it was like tragically underrated when it came out. Like, why is no one talking about this movie? And then I also didn't go see it. But shout out to the Little Theater, by the way, where you saw it. You got to support independent cinema. You know, Little Theater in Rochester. Um, Hell yeah, that's an awesome pick. I really like that because it's like it's something I've not seen and I'm familiar, like was vaguely familiar with. But that's yeah, you did a hell of a job selling me on that one. I'm in.
Yeah, let me know what you think when you watch it.
Yeah, I will. I see. Interesting. Yeah, I gotta check it out. Yeah, that's um, yeah. Your picks have been quite interesting, surprising too. All yeah, not I wouldn't have been able to predict your three picks if I were to have guessed. It wouldn't have been any of the guesses I wouldn't have known to guess those. It's so that's yeah, that's interesting. Did I do two? No, oh, I only did two so far, huh? It's my third pick next, right? Yeah, because I technically did quite a few honorable mentions, which I'm gonna do a couple real quick honorable mentions, and then I'll do my pick, which I know I mentioned Muppet Christmas Carol. I have two other versions of A Christmas Carol in my top 10. One would be Scrooged with Bill Murray, which is Bill Murray may be an asshole. That movie's still fucking funny. I do love Bill Murray. And the other one is Mickey Mouse's Christmas Carol, because that's just the one that's most dear to my heart, the animated one. Have you seen Scrooged, by the way? I wanted to ask that.
I have seen Scrooge, but I haven't seen the Mickey Mouse one.
making
Mickey Mouse one, it's like only 20 minutes. It's like a cartoon. It hits all the beats pretty quick. You know, it's the classic Christmas Carol story, but it's got all the Mickey Mouse characters playing them. And it's perfect because it's Scrooge McDuck. And they already had a character, Scrooge McDuck, before they ever did A Christmas Carol. So they already had the character named after the guy before they ever did it. And then it was like a 80s TV special or whatever. I did want to say about Scrooged is one of the only versions of A Christmas Carol I know of that has a black female Bob Cratchit and a black Tiny Tim. If you remember Scrooge.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, shout out that right there. So, yeah, those are honorable mentions. Okay, one other honorable mention, and that rounds out my top 10, and then I'll get into what is my number one favorite Christmas movie of all time. Like, number one for sure. So, one other honorable mention is a newer one, which, have you seen The Night Before?
No.
Oh, it's really good. With Seth Rogen. It came out a few years ago. It's really funny. They take a bunch of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They take a bunch of drugs and like it's like a Seth Rogen movie, but a Christmas / Hanukkah movie, and it's really great. It's yeah. Oh, Anthony Mackie is in it. It's yeah, and those are like the three buddies, and it's really great. It's a new addition to my list. But okay, all that said, I gotta get to my third and final pick, which is my number one favorite Christmas movie of all time, and I will defend it to the death. It's one of my all-time favorite movies ever made, and that's Bad Santa.
are
Oh,
you
that's a good pick.
familiar?
I love that.
Okay.
Great, because Bad Santa, people think it's one thing, and it is that thing. It's a very vulgar, offensive comedy movie about a guy who is just the biggest shitbag you've ever seen. But the story of his minor redemption character arc, the arc that he goes on from the beginning of that movie to the end. Like, you have to be a zombie if it doesn't make you tear up. It's a beautiful movie. It's a beautiful story, despite all of the like rough edges of the character. Like, that's the point. He's supposed to be this unlikable guy. And at the time when that movie came out, it was quite like groundbreaking to make a Santa that way. It was controversial. And this was before we had so many of these like anti-hero TV shows and all this stuff, where Billy Bob Thornton's Bad Santa really, to me, paved the way for a lot of these like anti-hero guys who are, where you're it's a Christmas movie and you're watching a bad guy the whole time. He's a villain in the movie. He's a terrible guy. He does terrible things. And that's who is your like emotional point in the story, and you follow him and his growth. And there's awful things that happen, but the real world is fucking awful. There's terrible people out there. People are like but it's very like raw and real, yet still tells us like beautiful Christmas story to me. And like just that like the orchestra song that plays in the end, it's like like the music's beautiful. Bernie fucking Mac in this movie is legendary. Like, it's one of Bernie Mac's best movies. I fucking love Bernie Mac and everything. Tony Cox as, you know, his sidekick to Elf, and John Ritter, rest in peace. Like, tremendous cast. I fucking love this movie so much. Sorry, go ahead. How do you feel about Bad Santa?
No, I love Bad Santa. I think that's a great pick. I don't know why I didn't even think of this when I was putting my list together. But no,
I'm
I
so
love Billy
glad you
Bob
did it, because
Thornton. Everything you said about like the anti-hero. Yeah, no, it was a great pick.
it's so
Good. And like, what's her name? The lead one, is it Lauren Graham? Or is that her name? Yeah, who's in like Charm. She's great in everything. Yeah, she's so good. She's like the only person that could like pull off that character. Like, who could you like? Who could love like this man and still be like so sweet and like appealing? And it's like, it's her, you know. And Cloris fucking Leachman as the grandma. Let me fix you some sandwiches. My God, do I love this fucking movie? And Bad Santa 2's okay. I did see it in theaters when it came out by myself, and I will probably watch it again this year to sort of revisit. It's not as good as the first one, you know. It hits some of the notes, but it's kind of a cash grab sequel. As far as sequels go, it's not the best, but it's far from the worst or most egregious. If you really like Bad Santa, it's watchable. It doesn't have the same like charm quite as the first one. Because you've already went on this emotional journey with this character. But yeah. But that's my thoughts on Bad Santa. I will say, I meant to mention this before, and I know you said you showed like a lot of restraint by not bringing in Die Hard as your Christmas movie, right? Well, I have to say that we made it all the way this far, and I showed restraint that I did not mention Rocky, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, or Rocky 5 as my favorite Christmas movie. And I've long since argued that the entire Rocky franchise are Christmas movies, and they all have pivotal Christmas scenes in them. So, each one of them. Like, in the first one, Paulie throws the turkey out in the street, and that's like where they have their first fight. Rocky 3, he gets the robot for Christmas. Rocky 4 is on Christmas Day. Rocky 5, that's when he invites over Tommy Gunn. Okay, sorry, I said I wasn't going to talk about Rocky and then proceeded to go into a Rocky rant. But Rocky franchise, Christmas movies, all of them. You can watch them all on... They're kind of like a New Year's Day watch, actually, too. You know, you're sitting over, hungover. It's like, you know, they're going to be on TV. On one of these, just if you have cable, you're at your relative's house, your aunt's house, your mom's house. They have cable. I guarantee you there is a Rocky marathon on a channel every day between now and New Year's. So, you may find yourself sucked into a Rocky marathon this holidays. Know that they are holiday movies. So, okay, end Rocky rant. So I guess we should sum up our lists. What were your top 3, Kai? Your top 3 favorite Christmas movies?
So my top three were Jingle All the Way, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and The Green Knight. I do have to say this though. I left one very important movie off of my honorable mentions. I completely forgot to talk about Friday After Next.
Yep.
That was egregious
Yep.
on my part to leave that out. That is one of my favorite movies of all time, Christmas or otherwise.
I've heard. I've heard. I haven't seen it in a long, long time, and I do love. I haven't seen. Like, I've seen the first two Fridays more recently, but I haven't watched all of the third one in a while. So, I need to add that one to the rotation as well. And then, so my top three favorite Christmas movies were Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, A Muppet Family Christmas, and Bad Santa. So yeah, I think we have pretty good lists. How you feel pretty solid about our mentions here? I think there's some major ones that we left off, but that's fine because we have our own taste, and I think we represented a lot of different good Christmas movies. I've heard other podcasts do the same thing, the Christmas thing. It's a thing. And they did a much worse job than we did. I could guarantee you that. I heard some. So I'm pretty pleased with it. So I think you suggested this topic last time, right? So is it my turn to pick? Okay, because I do have something in mind. And because you mentioned it, I think that next episode, which will likely be in the year 2025, we should discuss our top 3 favorite Arnold movies.
Oh yes, that's a good.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to choose from, and we have a variety of tastes, so there may be some crossover, there may be some not, but I think that'll be a lot of fun. And we can talk all things Arnold on the next episode. But I guess until... Yeah, so I guess to everyone out there and to you, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. You can find Something of a Podcast. We're on YouTube at Something of a Podcast. We are on Spotify. We are on Instagram at Something of a Pod. I am Mike Gamms. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of them at Mike Gamms. You can find me on all those places. And Kai, where can the people find you?
I'm KaiVonDoom. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok for now as KaiVonDoom or KaiVonDoom Comedy.
And consider this y'all's warning to look out, because as we've established, 2025, Kai-tober starts in January, and it is also the year of the Gamms. So we have been Something of a Podcast, and this is something of an ending. All right, see y'all next time.
I'm something of a podcast myself. I'm something of a podcast myself. I'm something of a podcast. I'm something of a podcast myself.